I'll sing a refrain 3 times. Join in where you can, and I have little verses that came to me while Father Tim was speaking yesterday. You probably know the tune and the words. The words are, "Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me." I'll sing 3 times. Jump in where you can, if you want. I hope you do. Oh my gosh, it'll be so lonely sitting up here. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. I meet the darkness, I bring the light, I am the brighter way. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. I meet the anger, I bring love, I am the brighter way. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. I meet the fear, I bring understanding, I am the brighter way. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. I meet the greed, I bring simplicity, I am the brighter way. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good morning. Good.
Eric and I are going to collaborate. We just met yesterday, and so this is exciting and improvisational. I'm going to read 3 poems. I'll read a poem. Eric will do a musical interlude, and then I'll read a poem, and then Eric will play. The first 2 poems are, and I'm going to talk not so much. Talk through the poetry. The first 2 poems are poems that I wrote, and the last poem is a poem by W.S. Merwin, and many of the poems I'm sharing are from Ghost Fishing. So, do that. Can everybody hear? If I start trailing off or you can't hear and you're in the back, will you raise a hand? Okay. And on the anniversary of King's assassination, walking the woods, I become dizzy, the whole canopy waving as if the sky could come undone. Hours later, an enormous hickory is flung hard across the length of our lawn, crown shattered. Earlier that day, my neighbor saying, "We should do something about that tree." Heavy winds blowing through America, dangerous weather. No one can say we didn't see it coming. Yael tells me hickory is medicine for helplessness. Dave says, okay, but the tree fell. I will say one thing about this next poem. I was invited to write a poem for a program on oceans, and I was writing this poem during hurricane season. So that's the context. When weather reports become poetry, strange time. Requiem. Unable to sleep, the blankets wrapped in waves, waves as tall as dreams. The dream world trying to make sense of the waking. Strange dream of flooded rivers, entire cities underwater. Look how the dead float, hair blossoming on the surface, and the daily hustle into the streets filled with water, going to get bread, going to get gasoline, and the dogs tied to lampposts, and the elders in chest-high waters waiting for rescue. And always the water rising, and we never know who it will take next, except that some houses are more sturdy than others, and some rescues come quicker or not at all. Remember when our beds were filled with oil? The sea was whispering from an open door as that viscous dark came spilling up and out and into every crevice of our dreams. How many days it gushed all over our newspapers, into our laundry and hair, how it covered our hands and wouldn't wash out. We couldn't sleep at night, and the president ate shrimp and said, none of this, though tragic, should interrupt our dinner. We who crawled once to these shores, having risen single-celled from the ocean floor, now standing in the mist of an invented world. Each morning we step into our clothes, light the stove for breakfast, and those of us with privilege, we gas up and go. We who once had no claws, no hands, no way of grasping what we desired, and the waters keep seeping back in. Look how carefully zookeepers pack up those dolphins, airlifting them to safety, giving them massages to ease the stress. After the flooding, the houses so weak they are crumbling, and before the flooding also. Elsewhere, drought brings flame, fires consuming the west coast of our country. Easy breathing only when the wind is blowing the other direction. Firefighters fighting to protect the houses as animals come screaming from the flame. Give them water, foresters beg. Let them recover. Give me a dog who isn't drowning, a tree not in flames, a flag that is not betrayal. Teach me how to build an ark. And I'll read one more. Yesterday we were gifted to hear Terry read the Thanksgiving address, the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving prayer. And if you haven't read that, I recommend, if you missed yesterday, that you get your hands on it. It was very instructive and beautiful. And I'm going to read a poem about gratitude, which is not that, but this idea of gratitude is really important. And this is by W.S. Merwin, a great poet who just passed recently, who you should know if you don't. Thanks. Listen. With the night falling, we are saying thank you. We are stopping on the bridges to bow from the railings. We are running out of glass rooms with our mouths full of food to look at the sky and say thank you. We are standing by the water, thanking it. Standing by the windows, looking out in our directions. Back from a series of hospitals, back from a mugging, after funerals, we are saying thank you. After the news of the dead, whether or not we knew them, we are saying thank you. Over telephones, we are saying thank you. In doorways and in the back of cars and in elevators, remembering wars and the police at the door and the beatings on the stairs, we are saying thank you. In the banks, we are saying thank you. in the faces of officials and the rich and all who will never change, we go on saying thank you, thank you. With the animals dying around us, talking our feelings, we are saying thank you. With the forest falling faster than the minutes of our lives, we are saying thank you. With the words going out like cells of a brain, with the cities growing over us, we are saying thank you, faster and faster. With nobody listening, we are saying thank you, thank you. We are saying and waving, dark though it is.
This is an important song for me to play. It's nice to play with the music by itself with just the flute, and I do that quite often, and outside as well. But I looked at other instruments, guitar and whatnot, because I build them and I play them. So a lot of you'll hear in the background me playing, and sometimes I just put that in for extra color. So this is an honoring song, the basics of Navajo honoring song. being in the Adirondacks, and we had a series of 4 really terrific downpours that came through during the night. And just before every storm, the loon gave its call. And I looked outside and I could see the lightning in the west. And he did this all night long. The loon called it up and told us when the storm was approaching. And just thinking here, it's a wonderful metaphor for what's happening here, is that all these wonderful speakers are telling us about the approaching storm, much like the loon. Not that we're all loons, but you know. But the loon is a rather noble bird, so this is a little bit of a, not a lengthy piece, but it's orchestrated once again with the wonderful piano playing of Peg Delaney, who interpreted the song for me. And so this is the Loon Song.
I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to read 2 poems. I do want to thank all of our speakers for what they've brought to us in the last 24 hours. Thank you for all the naming that's happening in the framework and the ways we're given to think about hope and about our current troubles and about our role and what's next. And I want to also give a shout out of gratitude towards the environmental justice movement, and name one other thing, which Pat did mention, which is our white supremacy and our whiteness, and as another part of seeing who mostly is in our movements, these movements in this room. Just want to recognize that we have work to do, but I want to recognize the people of color that have been doing this environmental work on the front lines for generations. And I want to offer as a tool in the back of Ghost Fishing, I included text, which you can also find online, of the 17 principles of environmental justice from the first National People of Color Environmental Leadership Summit, which was held in 1991. And so much of what we're talking about is in these principles. And if you don't know these principles yet, I encourage you to seek them out and find ways to heal and connect our movements and learn from those who are on the front line. I'm going to read two poems thinking about hope. I also want to shout out thinking about hope, Cornel West's book on hope. Some of you might have read. I think it's really instructive. He talks about a blues hope, and as hope as the opposite of optimism, if I'm getting it right in my memory. That optimism is this shallow, everything's, denial of reality, but hope, blues hope, is the recognition of how bad things are and still finding hope. And just put that out as another way to look at it. This work is helpful. I'm going to end with two notes of hope on my poems, and then we'll go back to another song, and we'll be moving to lunch. And this is a poem that will make you hungry. The title of this poem is Poem for the TSA Officers Who Rifled Our Bags to Dump Homemade Jam We Were Carrying as Gifts. And this is, I offer as our building our resistance, our garden, our sustenance, and a reminder that the natural world is here for us and is supporting us and is rooting for us, and we're not alone. And I really appreciate that Misa idea and this beautiful space where we are. This is a true story. Poem for the TSA officers who rifled our bags to dump homemade jam we were carrying as gifts. You never can tell what those peaches were doing naked together in that Guatemalan basket. Or how the moon whispered to an underground of resurgent garlic. Winters when you thought the living world asleep. Beware the last red peppers of autumn, how they fatten into gorgeous fists raised at dawn in solidarity. Trust not the pickled relish. Keep an eye on the candied beets. Know that the bees are amassing in goldenrod, hoping to keep their queen alive, as battalions of crickets play violin in the tall and anonymous grass. Trust not the sweat-sticky kitchen uprising of steam as grapes roil into a delirium of kettle-shaking goodness. Keep an eye on that elder who ladles the whole sweet mess into a bell choir of singing jars, each ping, rousing, unexplainable delight. Know that in kitchens throughout this land, such sweetness is gathering daily. connected also to the garden and our resistance and our resilience. And this is from Ghost Fishing. This is a poem by Chen Chen, who is a Chinese-American immigrant. It's called Set the Garden on Fire. My friend's new neighbors in the suburbs are planting a neat row of roses between her house and theirs. Her neighbors smile, say the roses are part of community garden project. That's all. But they whisper too, whisper plans for trees, a wall of them. They plant rumors that her house is hiding illegals when it's aunts and uncles visiting. They grow tall accusations fed by talk radio that her house was bought with drug money, not 17 years of woks sizzling. People serving, delivering, filing, people scrubbing, refilling, running, her family running the best restaurant in town. Like with your family, my friend says. Once we moved in, they stopped calling us hard-working immigrants. Friend, let's really move in. Let's plunge our hands into the soil. Plant cilantro, strong tomatoes, watermelon, and honey-hearted cantaloupe. Good things, sweeter than any rose. Let's build the community garden that never was. Let's call the neighbors out, call for an orchard, not a wall. Trees with arms free, flaming into apple, peach, pear, every imaginable, edible fire. Come, friend, neighbor, you, come, set the garden on fire with all our hard-earned years, tender labor of being here, ceaseless and volcanic, making of being here together. Chen Chen.
I guess is it lunch after
Yes.
this? Okay. I'm going to conclude with this song. This will be something to help you digest your food. I just want to say one thing. With I'm not much of a speaker, but there is another fact that I want to make available to you here. Since we're talking about extinctions, there was an interesting article in National Geographic about 2 years ago that came up with a statistic that was really bothersome to me. It said that we lose, every 14 days, every 2 weeks, the world loses a language. So we can ponder that for a little while. But there are words, and something that Terry was talking about yesterday about remembering that all our ancestors, whether it's an uncle that died 10 years ago, whether it's 4,000 years ago, those ancestors are here to help us. And when we're asking the question on what we do, we need to turn to them and ask them, and really sit down with it and find that quiet place. And those ancestors will come and talk to you too. In spirit talk, it won't be words, it'll be spirit talk, and you'll understand that very clearly. So this song is called Ancient Voices. And I'll be playing the Pueblo flute. This is a copy of a 1,500-year-old flute that was found in Arizona. And I was received the information about where the holes went and everything. So this is music from 1,500 years ago. And I do want to offer a big Nawagoa, which is Mohawk, for a big thank you to all the people that organize this. And Maureen, it's been a privilege to know you and all these people, these wonderful people that are meeting. And realize that this is not just a peace conference, this is an elders gathering. So let's listen to those ancient voices. I have another engagement tonight, so I'm going to have to leave shortly. And once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh boy. That's okay.
Thank you.